In order to understand that, it does help to make a distinction between a personal Chapter 7 and a business Chapter 7. The big picture goal in a personal Chapter 7 is to discharge debts. Now, in the Bankruptcy Code, the title of Chapter 7 is liquidation. But in a personal bankruptcy under Chapter 7, there really isn't much liquidation that happens. Occasionally, a trustee might seize a home, but for the most part, there isn't a lot of liquidation, so those are what are called no asset cases. Now, a business in Chapter 7 never gets a discharge. So the reason for a personal Chapter 7, that is to get the discharge, isn't really there in a business Chapter 7, because the Bankruptcy Code is unambiguous that only individuals or legally married couples can get a discharge under Chapter 7 of the Bankruptcy Code. So why then would a business file under Chapter 7? Well, when a business has a lot of debt and it has assets and the principals don't want to spend the time liquidating the assets and paying the debts, and they can see the handwriting on the wall, this business is over, filing Chapter 7 then plops all that work into the lap of the Chapter 7 trustee appointed to the case. So in that situation, the business owners can wash their hands of the liquidation aspect of the business and just pass it off to the Chapter 7 trustee, who will do the liquidation for the principals. Now, what that means then is if there are no assets to be liquidated, there's no purpose to a business Chapter 7. Because after all, if the business isn't getting a discharge, it's not filing to get the discharge. And if it has no assets, there's nothing for the Chapter 7 trustee to do. And so courts frown on the idea of a business doing a Chapter 7 if there are no assets to be liquidated. In fact, here in the Central District of California, one of the bankruptcy judges some years ago sanctioned an attorney $30,000 for filing a business Chapter 7 when there really wasn't a reason to do it. And so, in short, the gist of it is this. A business files a Chapter 7 if it's got a lot of debt that it can't handle, it wants to shut down, and it has a lot of assets to be liquidated. And so the principals will turn the business over to the Chapter 7 trustee. So that's when it really makes sense for a business to do a Chapter 7 bankruptcy.